All right, let's go. Okay, in this one, we're going to be talking about data types. Right? What is a data type, or what are data types? Okay. Going back to human languages, I like using human languages. They're very fun. So going back to human languages, you know how we have vowels, we have not vowels. Sorry, we have verbs, we have nouns, and those type of things, right? So when it comes to programming languages or Java, let me talk about Java because this is what we're doing. We're doing Java, so let me just stick to Java. So when it comes to Java, we have what we call data types, right? So data types are basically the type of data that you have, right? Sorry to put it that way, but yeah, it's just the type of data that you have, right? And these are called data types. So we have many data types, right? We have primitive data types, we have non-primitive data types, okay? And the difference between a primitive and a non-primitive data type is that with primitive data types, you are looking at data types that you normally do not perform, you do not interchange the data, right? You do not perform extra operations on it. And when you're looking at non-primitive data, this is data that you can manipulate and change it in so many different ways, right? So that's how I personally differentiate between a primitive data type and a non-primitive data type. So the type of data types that you'll normally be using when it comes to Java are as follows, right? So you have number one, you have a string. Right? As you can see, it's even written there, right? String. So string was the very first thing that you saw. String was the very first data type that you saw me write. So we have a string, we have an integer, we have a double, we have a float, we have character, right? So character, but we write it as a char. Okay. I'm just gonna, let me just put character here so less confusion, right? And I have to put character somewhere up here with string, right? And then you have a boolean, right? Okay. So these are the six main data types that you're gonna be seeing quite frequently inside your programming inside the course of the year, right? So these six are going to be the main focus of your. Actually, I don't think we use float that much, but yeah, I'm just gonna have it. I'm just gonna leave it in there anyway. So we have six data types. What do they mean? What does this mean? What does all of this knowledge mean? It's too much knowledge. So we get into the string, right? So what is a string? A string is basically is defined as this is what a string looks like. So a string, you'll see, will always be underneath quotation, right? Yeah, under double quotation. Sorry, let me use the correct term. Under double quotation. So what you see here, this hello world, it's a beautiful day. What is that? It is a string. Why? Because it's under quotation. So it doesn't matter what we have in here. Anything that is underneath double quotation is regarded as a string. So I can have a number in here and we would still say this is a string. Right? So string stays underneath double quotation, right? And then you have a character, right? So a character is defined as the data type of character. You see it by having single quotation, right? And then you only have one character. You cannot have a word inside here like hello, right? So this is wrong. This is not a character. A character usually comes as one key value, right? So one key value, whether it's a number, it's a symbol, it's a letter, right? It always comes as one particular type of thing, right? It's one thing, always one. Yeah. And then next up we have integer. Integer, well, from mathematics, you know what an integer is. An integer is any whole number, right? From negative infinity to positive infinity, right? However, in this case, we do, however, have a limit, and I'm forgetting the limit that we have on a string. Hopefully, I can remember that, and I'll definitely come back and edit the video to give you guys those limits. But yeah, integers, we do have a limit. It does not move from negative infinity to positive infinity. It does have a length restriction, right? I'll give you the length a bit later. But yeah, just hold on to the fact that these are whole numbers, right? So you cannot have a comma something in here. No, we do not have such things. It has to be a whole number. Okay. Next up is a double. A double, these are your integers. So it's integers with decimal points, right? So these are your decimals. Let me put it in that way. So doubles are your I should have put float first because float is smaller than a double. But no, it's okay. So these are your integers. These numbers can have these numbers can have decimals. Sorry, why do I keep saying integers? These are your decimals. These numbers can have decimals. Okay, and then float. Float, it's much similar to a double, but in this particular case, it's possible for you to have something like 3f. Okay, that's because it reads hexadecimal values as well. Okay. All right, I think I lost you there, so that's why I didn't want to add float, but I left it in there, just so you know that it's there, it exists. But however, I don't think you want to be using it throughout the course of the year. Okay. Next up, you have a boolean. A boolean comes as one of two values. It's either true or it's false. It's either 0 or it's 1. If you're talking computer language, but in this case, we're talking Java. Sorry, let me stick to Java. So we are sticking to Java. So a boolean can either be true or it can be false, right? So it's either true, sorry about that, small letter true, or it can be false. So that is a boolean for you. It's either true or it's false. So yeah, these are the 6 data types that you'll see quite frequently. Hey, well, minus float, so it's like 5 data types that you want to be seeing on a regular basis. Yeah, and this is them right here. So we'll see you guys on the next one to further explain to you how exactly do we use these data types to piece together a nice working program. All right, for now, just memorize and know, not memorize, learn that there's 5 data types that you will be seeing on a regular basis, that being minus the float here. Okay, so you're not going to be seeing float as frequently as you would. You're going to see your string, character, and integer and double. Okay. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one where we're going to be talking about variables.